right. Well, hello, Facebook. Are we just on Facebook so far? Or are we ever? Oh, everyone's coming on. All right. Good morning, everybody. What do you think of my purple shirt? I'm kind of digging purple, huh?
It's definitely purple.
It's purple. That's all you got for me?
We're clashing. We're clashing.
I don't know. I think purple goes with everything.
Purple's good. And you're a Vikings fan, so I feel like it's just fitting.
Yes, thank you.
And we're getting kind of a purple hue in your glasses from it, too.
Ooh, yeah. I think that's the, what do they call that? The tinting something, reflective protection.
Yeah, the anti-reflector, glare prevention or whatever.
Yeah,
Yep.
Blue light and all that good stuff.
Coating.
My wife saw my shirt and she's like, oh, you haven't worn that one for a while. So it's always fun to get the comments from Amanda. So
Purple is royalty. Someone just put up there.
It is.
That's
So
right.
that's your test.
Yes.
I told you I'm not doing it.
Do it.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Saunders, you got someone that wants to be on camera there? You want to? No?
No, it's my nurse.
Ah, okay.
She was just getting her stuff.
Hey, Fran Tarkington, the GOAT. That's what I like to hear. Thank you, Brian. I agree. Best quarterback in the history of, well, the Minnesota Vikings football club anyways. So, Prince Joe. There we go. That's right. Prince is
Oh, boy. Here we go.
He was from Minnesota. Prince, you know, that he was the best. Let's see. Well, thank you. Loving the shirt. I got to wear this shirt more often. This is good vibes. Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Barton with Barton Publishing, and we've got the star of the show, Leslie Prinz here, running controls. And Dr. Saunders is also here as we, I think 84. Is this? Oh, this is our 84th episode. So speaking of the Minnesota Vikings, who's the best player to ever play for the Vikings other than number 84? Randy Moss, my favorite player of all time. So, but today we're going to talk type 2 diabetes and technology. So here we are on a virtual Zoom call, people coming in from all over the world. Speaking of which, some of you have already told us. Tell us and the other attendees in the chat where you're from. And so here we are calling in on Zoom together live. Dr. Saunders is in California, and Leslie is 20 miles north of me here in South Dakota. We've got people from Chicago, Oregon, Ontario, Canada, North Carolina, New Jersey, Florida. Let's see, where else we got? Concord, California. And I mean, all over the place. So this is, you know, starting things off, talking about technology and how technology can help us in our journey of reversing type 2. So we've got Missouri and another one in North Carolina, Michigan, several in North Carolina. That's great. I need to go there. Charlotte, Philippines, Ontario, New Brunswick, Canada, Connecticut. Hey, Glenn. Glenn is on board. We had a nice talk or video call with Glenn last week when we were in Utah and recorded his testimonial, which was awesome. So good to see you here, Glenn. We've got Dell in Atlanta, Ernie in El Segundo, California, and someone in London. I wonder if that's London, England, or London. There's a London, South Dakota, I think, as well. So Minnesota, there's my home state. There we go. Corinne, nice to see you here. Steve from Mexico. I bet it's beautiful there. And so we talked right before we went live today. Should we do an April Fool's joke? And Leslie's like, you know, nobody wants to be messed with anymore. So I don't know if that's true or not. I had a phone call this morning with a friend, and he's like, yeah, I'm kind of not doing so good. I just got COVID. And I'm like, oh no, what's going on? He's like, I gotcha. So I'm like, it's April 1st. So anyways, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to pull any crazy jokes, although I would love to. But well, I wanted to give you just a quick little update. So yesterday, me and a few people on my team met for the day, and we did our Q2 planning, and we came up with our quarterly rocks, we call them, things that we're going to focus on. But something that we went over that we wanted to share more often with our people, which is you guys, is our core values, our core focus, and the 3 things that makes Barton Publishing and Barton Nutrition unique. And so I don't know if we've talked about all of these before together, so I thought I would do that quick. So real quick background story. So I started Barton Publishing in 2004. I used to be an accountant, and my wife and I now have 4 boys, but back when we had 2 boys, we took a step of faith and wanted her to stay home with them instead of having them go to daycare and stuff. So our income got cut in half, and I needed to find a way to make some extra money because my salary wasn't paying the bills and all that. And we had just built a new house. And so that's when I started, well, I was selling things on eBay just to make ends meet. And that's when I got exposed to the world of online marketing and the idea of creating ebooks that can help people and solve problems. So, sorry, my dog is looking at me. Give me 1 second here. Gus, go outside and stay out there for like an hour, would ya? Okay. Okay, so there I was in 2003, and we launched our first product in the health space, was get rid of kidney stones. And so we saw this natural remedy that was like nobody had heard of before that was helping people to dissolve kidney stones. And it was really helping people because kidney stones are painful. And anyways, one thing led to another. I continued to launch new reports and new websites, and I was able to basically retire from my job as a certified public accountant, which I didn't love being a CPA or accountant. It wasn't, you might be able to tell I'm a little bit not the accountant mold, I guess you could say. So I'm a little crazy. Most accountants are very straight-laced and anyways, numbers driven, and I'm okay with numbers. But anyways, entrepreneurship and marketing are definitely more my flow. And so really just ran the business for a few years on my own, ended up meeting Dr. Saunders in 2007 and brought him in to really give legitimacy to what we're doing, because I mean, who's going to trust a marketer from that doesn't have any health training, an
accountant from Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Uh-huh.
I was looking at this the other day of who started Snopes, and it's like people that started Snopes have no training. They don't know anything about what they're doing. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Well, I knew enough to be dangerous was about it, what I would say. I mean, our reports were definitely helping people with natural remedies, and I had a passion for that because my mom and dad both used natural remedies for, and they didn't like medications and tried to avoid them as much as possible. And so it really, the company birthed out of necessity in a sense. Like I needed to make extra money to support my family. But then it turned into like, I really felt like that was my calling. Like that's the reason God put me on this earth. So, and then over time we built a team, and now we had, like just last week in Utah, we had 16 people together out in Utah, and we spent, 4 days together out on the mountains, skiing, snowboarding, and eating healthy foods. And I actually lost like 5 pounds last week. I was pretty impressed. And I realized like, wow, it's all about the environment that you're in and how you do with, eating and exercise and all that. But anyways, so that was, that's kind of the journey over the last 17 years. And so, over the past 5 years or so, we kind of identified who we are, like what are our core values and why are we here, and putting that on paper. And so our first core value is honor God. And really that's like deep in my heart is like our responsibility to be good stewards and to honor God with like who he is and why he put us here. And so that's, you know, like I just have this deep connection, and if we had a lot of time, I'd tell you about the Joseph story. So Joseph from the Old Testament, my dad was married prior, and he had like 10 kids. So then he married my mom after a divorce, and I was like his first child with her. And so like even the lineage or the birth order and all that was similar, and just the way God has blessed me in business and stuff, it's just been very like, you step back and like, wow, there's something to this. And so so it means a lot for me to like honor God by using my gifts and talents and resources and abilities, and a lot of that is just like bringing people together and connecting people and working with a great team. So I have awesome people on our team, and so that leads to our second core value, which is help people. And that's really what our business, our products, our services do. And this webinar, like we started this webinar 84 weeks ago. This is episode 84, and it's like, hey, how can we help people more? And it was something I was kind of praying about and asking God, like, how can I, you know, what should I do in my business? Because we were kind of struggling, and I just felt God, you know, impress on my heart, like help people more, not help more people, but help people more. And so this webinar birthed out of that, like, hey, let's get on a call every week. And Dr. Saunders has been amazing to do that and lead that and be here every week for us but we really dig into type 2 diabetes and helping people on that journey, and, you know, sharing as much as we can, and then answering questions specifically. And so, you know, we've seen amazing fruit from that, like not necessarily financially at all, but just the fact that we connect with you guys on a personal level. And, you know, even this past week, we were able to hop on a couple of video calls with a couple of you and hear your story. And Leslie had to get the Kleenex box out because she was crying. I was fine. I didn't have any tears, right, Leslie? No, I did too. But no, that was just means a lot to us to connect and better empathize what you're going through, and that helps us as we look to create products and services to help you more. And so that's really been our focus the last couple of years, helping people more. And so and then third, get stuff done right. That's like our core value. It's like, hey, let's get her done right. And everybody on our team, that's who they are. So we work virtually. So we're going to talk about technology today. But one of the things of running a virtual company is you can't like look over someone's shoulder and see if they're working or playing solitaire on their computer. But like, I'm not worried about that. We have systems in place where if they get the work done, we know what happens. And if they don't, then we know as well. So people kind of self-select out, but we really haven't had a problem with that. So fourth core value is positive attitude, and just kind of making, you know, whatever situation you're in is having fun with it, and realizing like, man, look how blessed we are. And, you know, no matter our situation, there's always something positive to look to and something to be thankful for, and to live with gratitude. So we had we become friends with one of our customers and webinar attenders, Chris Bornman. You'll probably see more of him as we're going to share his testimonial video. But he had an amputation last year, and he had sepsis set in, and he almost died. And, you know, hearing his story of how, like, he's now, after going through our program and attending our webinar and taking our supplements, like he's so excited to be living life like on his terms again and not having limitations. He's on his way right now on a road trip to Florida to go shark fishing. So it's like, yeah. And I mean, it's just awesome. So he was such an encouragement to us. And that's the kind of people that we like to be with, and that we want to encourage people to realize that they can, no matter what they're going through, no matter what your health challenges might be, there's nothing that needs to, you know, stop you and say, oh, well, I'm done living life. No, you can actually you can actually tell your grandkids, like, well, sorry, kids, but I'm going to be spending your inheritance over the next 20 years because I'm going to be around a while. So, you know, what better thing can you give to your kids and grandkids than actually your presence in your life? So, and then the last core value is practice what we preach. And so Dr. Saunders is like the best example of that. You know, he's living it for us. Not only does he preach it, but he lives it. And so it's not one of those situations where do as I say, not as I do. It's like, no, do as he does and watch and look at him. So he might not be able to run a marathon as fast as he used to anymore, or the 10K that he talked about a couple of weeks ago, but like he's fit, he's healthy, he's happy, and he's, you know, just a model of that for everybody. So let's see. So our core focus, you may have seen this like on the back of our, I don't have that on there, but like on the back of our diabetes solution kit, our purpose is delivering hope and healing. And so delivering is sort of a play on words, like we deliver things online and offline. So deliver things through email or through the internet, so you can download our products and read them right away and not have to wait for the mail. But then you can also get that delivered through the mail to have the handy workbook on hand. And the hope and healing, like the hope comes with the healing, I think. And as you experience improvements in your health, you get that sense of hope, like, wow, I might actually be able to live, you know, an enjoyable life again if diabetes has you down and stuff. So so somebody asked if I could repeat the core values. I'll do that real quick. So honor God, help people, get stuff done right, positude, and practice what we preach. So core focus is deliver hope and healing. And then, so the three unique things about our company, and I hope you don't mind the background information here, but Chris was saying like, hey, we'd love to learn more about you. Like we love the information about the diabetes, but we'd also like to hear more about you guys. So I'll see it when I believe it. I don't know what that was about, but anyways, okay. So what makes us unique here at Barton Publishing? So we have wholesome, truthful, and inspiring products. And so whether it's the diabetes solution kit or one of our 10 different supplements that we have that help people with blood sugar issues or diabetes or neuropathy and things like that, they're wholesome, they're truthful, and they're inspiring. Someone asked to repeat number 5, that is practice what we preach. Okay, so the second thing that makes us unique is affordable front-end products for middle-income Americans. And so we don't have the most expensive products, but we also don't have the cheapest products. But our products are, just like Dr. Saunders is a functional doctor, I'd say our supplements are very much functional in how they work. And you know, the old adage, you get what you pay for. And that's very much the case with our supplements. So they're not the cheapest, but they work. And so we, you know, don't, you know, I don't know. I think they're a good value, and we usually have sales as well. So anyways, we're here to help middle income America and others. So that really covers a whole range of anybody that's struggling with type 2. So, and health is an investment. Like you need to think about the idea, like we spend money on vacations and toys, you know, like adult toys. Okay, that's not the right word. Cars, you know, boats, things like that. Why wouldn't you spend money on your health so that you can enjoy your life? And so that's, you know, that's how you have to think about it, I would say. And then the third thing
between men and boys is the price of their toys.
Yes, exactly. The third thing that makes us unique is helpful follow-up and connection to supportive products of purpose and healing. And so something that we continue to try to improve on is like our customer support and our connection and community. with you guys. And so providing like these webinars and also a Facebook page where we can interact and you can ask questions, and just reaching out, calling our health coaches or talking to someone on our customer support team. We want to provide that the help that you guys need, because we know that, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And that's where we like to surround you with our team here. And so we hope that you feel like you're part of our community, and we have some things in store that we'll be talking about over the next few months that I think are going to improve on that and provide that as well. So anyways, I hope that was helpful for you guys to get to know us a little bit more. Our team is spread out all over, well, mostly in the US, but we have people in Canada and South America and the Philippines. And so, but we're all here.
In Israel.
And Israel, that's right. So all over the world in many continents. So anyways, good stuff. So this, if you're here watching us live, awesome. You can ask questions in the Q&A or in the chat. Best if you do the Q&A, because it keeps it sorted and formatted nicely for Leslie to go through. If you're on Facebook, you can ask questions there. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can put comments in and we can answer that on a future call. But the website that we refer you to is bartonwebinar.com, and that's where you can go to see our products. If you want to order any products, reorder products. If you don't have a copy of the Diabetes Solution Kit, you can go to bartonwebinar.com as well. And then enter the coupon code webinar25. That helps us to track how many people are seeing these webinars, but also it saves you 25% off our prices. So webinar25 is the coupon code there. And also, you can register to join us live on Zoom. And the more we do these, the more people are watching us and signing up, and we get close to that maximum capacity on Zoom. So get in, you know, early and join us live and get your questions answered. And before I turn things over to Dr. Saunders, I know this has been long-winded, but thanks for bearing with me. We like to give a disclaimer that Dr. Saunders is giving general information purposes, or for general information only, not, you know, specific advice. Consult your own healthcare professional, because everybody has their own unique situation and story. And so we're not going to tell you to stop taking your medications or anything like that, but you know, use your own judgment and make your own decisions. But Dr. Saunders is the best. He gives the best information. And so without further ado, Dr. Saunders.
Okay, I don't know about the best, but
okay.
I know what I know. Okay, so today we wanted to talk about technology and how that's affected diabetes. And if you think about from way back, and what was the technology and how did people ever discover diabetes in the past? Well, if someone went to the doctor and said, gosh, you know, I can't sleep at night because I just have to get up and pee like every hour. There's something wrong here. And the doctor would say, you have diabetes. Diabetes means peeing too much. So then the doctor, there were two main kinds of diabetes, and one was a pituitary problem. The other one was a pancreas problem. So they're totally different. So how did the doctor way back, you know, a couple hundred years ago, how did they know what type somebody had? Well, they tasted the urine. They'd actually dip their finger in the urine and taste it. And they go, yes, you have diabetes insipidus. The word insipid means bland. So your urine is bland. And that means that you have a pituitary gland problem. And if the doctor tasted it and tasted sweet, you have diabetes mellitus. Mellitus is the word for honey. So you have sweet urine, and so they're both peeing too much was the symptom. But the doctor had a test that he could test the difference between them. Well, you know, coming forward along the lines since the 1920s, when insulin was discovered, technology has advanced just dramatically, incredible amounts. We have stuff today that would have totally amazed doctors back then, that, you know, they would have said, no way, there's no way you could do that. But we are at the brink of artificial pancreas. Like you can like implant an artificial pancreas. Why? Because we have continuous blood glucose monitoring. I don't know if you, the Freestyle Libre, for example, there's other machines now that you can put on your arm or in your belly, and this little sensor needle goes under the skin, and the patch goes on, and it's a continuous recording loop. And you take your machine and just run it by there, and it transmits the information like a Bluetooth, and then you get a graph of what your blood sugar's been doing. I mean, think about it. It's not like I have to poke my finger 5 times a day to find out what my blood sugar is. This is like real technology where you can see what your blood sugar is minute to minute. And they have even machines now that give insulin based on the blood sugar, the elevations in blood sugar. So it's pretty close to almost what an artificial pancreas would be. And that is, you don't have to replace it very often. You have to fill the well with insulin. And then the under the skin ones, like those monitors, they last for 10 to 14 days, depending on the monitor. And then you have to change it out all the time. So it's not exactly like an artificial pancreas. But what does that do for us? Well, it gives information. And information, we are in the information age. But information is the most important thing in the world. Because if you don't have information, if you're ignorant, then whatever you do is almost irrelevant. You know, in the old days when people couldn't distinguish why somebody was peeing too much, and they didn't know if it was a pancreas problem or a pituitary problem, then how are you going to treat that if you don't know what the problem is? You know, the information tells you what to do. So if you have this continuous monitoring, and you can say, oh my gosh, every time I eat a potato, my blood sugar just spikes up, and then it goes back down. And then if I wait an hour or two and measure my blood sugar, it'll be normal, but I won't see the spike. But if I have a continuous monitor, then I'll see the graph and I'll go, oh, you know, what I eat. So when you're in the reversing diabetes program, the diabetes solution kit, and you get to phase 1, and phase 1, you're just on a very low carbohydrate diet, and you're monitoring your blood sugar, and it's going just kind of gradually down, 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 down. And then it kind of reaches a plateau, and it's down, you know, between 70 and 90, and it's pretty continuously there. Then you know, after a couple of weeks of continuous between 70 and 90 your blood sugar, then you switch to the phase 2 of the program. And when you're in phase 2, if you have a continuous monitor, then every time you eat something, you can see how it affects your blood sugar a lot more easily than if you have to stick your finger frequently. So it just makes things easier. Because before, what we had to do is stick your finger, you know, before each meal, and it would give you an idea of where your blood sugar roughly is, well, where it is at that moment, but we don't know where it was before, where it's going after. We don't even know if it's going up or down, you know, in that kind of a case. And then check your hemoglobin A1C, which is sort of a long-term, you know, 3-month average. And then you can see that, oh, you know, now that I'm eating in this way, my blood sugars are generally higher. My hemoglobin A1C went up. I need to change my diet. Well, now you have a way of knowing exactly every minute of where your blood sugar is, so that you can so that you can see what's happening with everything you do. So people are asking all the time, well, what happens if I exercise? What happens if I exercise in the morning? What happens if I exercise at night? What happens if I eat something like that's total carbohydrate, like celery, but really doesn't have any sugar in it? What happens if I eat something with a lot of fiber and sugar and fat, like nuts? What do nuts do? Well, do you know what? We're not all the same. And some people, the fats will make them resistant. Some people react to that more. The fats make them more resistant. So a high fat diet may not be the best thing to do. So when you're on phase 1 even of the diabetes reversal, the diabetes solution kit, when you're in phase 1 and people are telling you, oh, you're on a ketogenic diet, you can eat all the fat you want. Well, yeah, but remember that a lot of people get more insulin resistant with fat. So you have to kind of be careful. So, but if you had this glucose monitor, then you could determine what happens when you eat a high fat, high protein meal, because sometimes that'll make your blood sugar go up. I actually had a patient. It's not common. And that's why we chose this program as opposed to other. There are other programs where ours isn't the only one, but we chose this one because it corresponds to most of the diabetic, because most people are diabetic because of an overconsumption of carbs. So we limit the carbs. However, that's not the only thing. And if you have a monitor, then you know what the issues are, and you know what happens when you exercise, and you know what happens when you eat whatever, and you know what happens when you're stressed. Because some people I've had, I think I told the story about Julie, the stress diabetic, before. She was overweight, really bad diabetes, and we could not control it with even high dose insulin. Nothing was working. And when her daughter moved out, her stress level went down and her diabetes disappeared, like off all medications with normal blood sugar. It was amazing. So all of these things are effects, but not everybody's the same. So it's not, I can't tell each one of you, oh, if you have stress, you're going to have higher blood sugar. Well, for many, that's true, but not all of them. Or if you eat a potato, don't eat potatoes because you never eat potatoes. Well, maybe not. Not everybody's going to respond in the same way. In fact, there are programs for diabetes specifically that are super high carbohydrates and high sugars, and you eat potatoes and fruit and all the starch and sugar you want, but you eat zero fat, essentially, like not zero, but as close to zero as you can. And guess what? It works. Especially for type 1 diabetes, there's a cool program out there. So information is what technology has done for us. And you can get those hemoglobin A1C monitors now, where you can measure your own hemoglobin A1C at home with a little finger stick and find out what your glycosylated hemoglobin is. So you can know what your average is over a long period of time. And then for those who have type 1 who require insulin, the pumps are amazing. And the pumps can monitor the sugar and automatically give you doses when you eat. They're just like amazing machines now. So our technology has allowed us to essentially be able to reverse and become functional very simply. So all the questions that we had before, what happens if, can be answered by you now at home because you have your own blood glucose monitor. The reason this came up is because a few weeks ago, somebody was asking, well, what happens if? And why does my blood sugar go up when I do this? And why is my morning blood sugar high when I didn't eat any dinner? And all of these questions come up. Do you know what? You can test that now all by yourself at home with your own blood glucose monitor.
Yeah, that's great. So a quick question. Are there any downsides of technology or downsides of having too much information?
Well, yeah. Well, there's always the people who are what do they call them? The people that are always seeking information but never doing anything about it. Yeah. So if the information leads you to changes, Joe and I were talking about these conferences. We met at a conference, a business conference, and we were talking about people who just go to business conferences over and over. They've spent, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars on business conferences so that they can learn how to do internet marketing, but they never do it. Right. So that they can learn how to increase their business, but they never do it. So if you're a diabetic who's looking for information but not ready to start doing anything, well, then I don't know that that's a downside, but it is something.
Yeah. So it's important that you use the information that you are learning so that you can make, tangible adjustments to your life and routine and things like that, instead of just being stressed out like, oh man, my blood sugar is 800, what do I do? Like, well, all right, now that you know that, you take the diabetes solution kit, start following that program, and drop your carb intake down to 20 grams or less a day, and then watch what happens, and then experience the benefits of as you watch that your blood sugar monitor. So, okay, another question, blood sugar monitors. So are those continuous monitoring or monitors more common now? And where do you get them? And does insurance cover them? Or can you tell us a little bit more about those? And
there's more of them. There's several different types now. The finger stick ones, they're over the counter. You can get those from like any pharmacy now. The other ones, I'm not sure. I've never seen them over the counter, but I know people. I often prescribe them, and insurance does cover them. And I have a patient. We have to get prior authorization for her to get the patches that she wears because she has to change. And so I know insurance is covering them, and they're pretty easy to get, I think. I don't know. I haven't had anybody have trouble. Yeah. Well, in order for insurance to cover it, you need to have, I think you have to have type 1 diabetes, or at least you have to have 5 sticks a day. So if you have like crazy whacked out blood sugar that's, going crazy, then it's easy to get a prior authorization. Yeah. But so people with type 1 who have to do, morning, before every meal, and then night, then they will get a continuous monitor.
Well, if anybody's watching this and they use one of those and could tell us where they get them and how much they pay for them, and maybe someone knows if you can get them over the counter, we can share that information with others. That might be something that we would consider, researching and creating something that we can, promote as well along with our products, if that's something helpful, which it sounds like it definitely is, to get a better understanding of where your numbers are at. So that's good stuff. So, well, because of my earlier long-windedness, we've got a lot of questions that have come in and only about 20 minutes left. And so I want to make sure that we can get to some of these questions, and
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Hello. Okay, today's Fix Blood Sugar webinar is sponsored by Easy Relief Magnesium Spray. Now, this is fast absorbing magnesium that is a topical spray that you spray on your skin, and it is vital for over 300 functions in your body. Now, the nice thing about this magnesium is, first of all, you don't have to ingest it, so you can't take too much of this. Your skin is great at absorbing only what it needs. So you spray about 30 to 50 sprays of this per day, and I personally do it 2 to 3 times a day of 10 to 15 sprays, and I do it on my chest and my legs typically. And this is going to correct the deficiencies that most people have. Now, how do you know if you need magnesium? Usually the symptoms are you have muscle cramps, trouble sleeping, if you're fatigued, if you have erratic blood sugar, if you experience any type of numbness or tingling,
or if you feel down in the dumps or feeling blue. Now, those are all different types of symptoms that a lot of times magnesium can help with. So highly recommend this product of Easy Relief Magnesium. It is super easy. You spray it on. You don't have to take a pill or anything like that, and you don't have to worry about absorbing too much. This absorbs quickly. Now, this will get into your body in less than 2 minutes, into the bloodstream and circulating through. So it's a lot faster than if you take a pill with magnesium in it. So it's super important for metabolism, metabolic function. If you have insulin resistance, magnesium will probably help with that. There's a connection between low magnesium and insulin resistance. It's great for relaxation and sore muscle relief. It helps you sleep. Great for muscle cramps and achy joints. There's no sticky residue. So a lot of times if you find a different magnesium spray, it's not bonded with water like this process has done. So this doesn't leave a sticky residue at all. So it's great. It doesn't sting. It improves your mood. And there's just all sorts of different, again, there's 300 different functions that magnesium is used in the body. Highly recommend it. It's 365-day guarantee, just like anything. You can get it at bartonnutrition.com. And if you want to save 25% in addition to our already discounted prices, use this coupon code webinar25 as a coupon code. Again, that's at bartonnutrition.com and Easy Relief Magnesium. Highly recommend it. Dr. Saunders approved. It's all natural and safe. Get yours today. All right, thanks. Now back to the webinar.
Okay, we had a couple questions come in about neuropathy and then also our Nervala supplement. So let's tackle both of those together.
Okay. Neuropathy is when the nerves are not getting sugar to them. So what happens is the nerves, since sugar can't cross the blood, the barrier, the blood-brain barrier or the nerve barrier, so sugar can't get in there, and they don't use insulin the same way we do, the same way that our other cells do, because the other cells require insulin because they only bring sugar in when there's insulin, whereas nerves don't work that way. Nerves are totally different. They bring sugar in on a constant basis. And if your sugar's always high, then those glucose transport proteins are diminished. There's fewer and fewer of them. So your nerves on the other side of that membrane are actually starving for sugar when there's a whole sea of sugar on the other side. It makes no sense, right? But that's what's going on. And that's why the brain shrinks down too, is the brain is starving for energy. So what does the Nervala do? Nervala has two important nutrients in it. One is vitamin B1 called benfotiamine. It's a special vitamin B1 that's fat soluble. That repairs the lining, the damaged lining of the blood vessels, and allows better blood flow and better oxygen so that you get good blood flow to the nerves. And then the other one is alpha lipoic acid that helps the mitochondria work better to improve, or it lowers inflammation, improves mitochondrial function so that you can make energy more efficiently. The other thing that's needed, and so I don't want to say that, oh, all you have to do is take Nervala. That's not it. It was the whole program. Everybody who said, oh, Nervala works great, did the whole program. So they're doing phase 1 of the program, their blood sugar's dropping down, and guess what happens? The blood-brain barrier, the glucose transport proteins increase and allow more sugar in and more energy to be produced by the nerves. So it's the combination of factors that allows the nerves to start functioning again. And they do. They wake up and they start functioning again.
Okay, I'm going to actually post Dr. Saunders' Dial-A-Doc information right here as well. We had a couple questions about that, so that'll be in the chat. Let's see. I got to multitask. I'll do that in a second.
Did you
Okay,
raise the price yet on that, Dr. Saunders?
What's that?
Did you raise the price on Dial-A-Doc yet? We were talking about how your capacity is getting close to maxed out, so I don't know if that program is going to be
pretty maxed out. But if somebody needs help, I'll help them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, Mike says, Dr. Saunders, a few months ago, I was diagnosed with prediabetes and an A1C of 6.0. I got my results Monday, and I am now a 5.6. My question today is, what is considered normal at this point? And can you please discuss the difference between insulin resistance, prediabetes, and where your range should be? Thank you very much.
Wow, that is a great question. Everybody listen to this. This is really good. So Mike, you've done something really great, and that is from 6.0, which is pre-diabetes, down to 5.6, which is non-diabetic. That's normal. So 5.7 up to 6.4 is pre-diabetes, and then over 6.4 is considered diabetes. It's really not useful to have a line drawn where you have this point you have diabetes and at this point you don't. It's really best to think of it on a scale. And that's what the advantage of the hemoglobin A1C is you can look at it on a scale and you can say, well, my average blood sugar is, if my hemoglobin A1C is 5.0, then my average blood sugar is right around 100. It's under 100, right around 90 or something, which is perfect. That's exactly where it should be. If I'm up to 5.6, well, then my average blood sugar is around 110, and that's okay. If I'm 6.5, then my average blood sugar is around 150. Oh, see that if you think of it on a scale instead of a line of I have diabetes, I don't have diabetes, where's your optimum place to be? Well, it's somewhere around 4.8 to 5.4. Somewhere in that range is the optimum place to be. 5.6 is considered normal. That's non-diabetic, and it's not considered pre-diabetes until you're over 5.7. So that's the hemoglobin A1C in a nutshell. And think of it as insulin resistance. That if you're 9.0, then that's really high. You have a lot of insulin resistance, and your average blood sugar is really high.
All right, great question. Okay, good carbs versus bad carbs.
Oh, there's a whole book written on this, and this is really important. Yes, there are good carbs and bad carbs. We talked. And if you want to go back to our whole long lecture on fiber, the optimum diet for human beings, and it's a high fiber diet, all the good carbs are fiber. And that is the carbohydrates that are fructooligosaccharides and pectin and inulin. They're all considered fiber. Why? Because they grow the good bacteria in your intestines, and they keep you from having spikes in your blood sugar. So the fiber is really important. So I told you about, just a minute ago, I talked about that there are some programs for especially type 1 diabetes that are like pure carb programs, like you don't have any fat and you're eating all this sugar, you're eating watermelon, you can spike your blood sugar like crazy. But it doesn't happen because your insulin, you remain very sensitive to your insulin when you're not eating fat. So it's not just that carbs are good or carbs are bad. It's the combination of factors of getting too much. And so when you have too much of everything, you become toxic. And toxic on fat and carbs is a terrible combination. And that's where diabetes actually comes from. Type 2.
Okay. Coney is asking, I'm taking Banaba and berberine. What else can I take to get off metformin and other drugs that I take?
Okay. Don't look at it as I can take this to get off of that. I saw that a ton. I used to work with naturopathic doctors. I employed them in my office, and my patients were seeing them, and I was seeing it. We were seeing patients in common, and that's a common thing that I see with naturopathic doctors. So let's get you off this drug so you can take these supplements, and then this drug can be replaced by these supplements, and And so people go home with an armful of supplements and they're popping pills all day long. I had one woman with 7 across, 4 down, and she's like opening and filling up each one of those little things all day long. And that's not the point. The point is not to pop more pills. The point is, what do you need to have a normal functioning metabolism? And so like the CinnaChroma, for example, it isn't just the cinnamon extract that helps you be more sensitive to your insulin. Okay, that's fine. But more than that, it has the chromium, vanadium, selenium, vitamin D that allow your metabolism to function properly, because those are common deficiencies. People need them. And if you don't have them, then you don't use sugar very well. So putting all that together and having a good functioning program is the best. So then the next thing is to detox. So phase 1 of the diabetes solution kit is the detox. That's how you detoxify from all of the excess sugar that's been building up in your cells.
Oh, okay. What causes cravings and how do I curb them?
Oh, cravings. What causes cravings, especially for carbs, is all the stress hormones, adrenal hormones. It's been proven, what do you do about adrenal hormones? Well, don't be stressed, but you know what? We make adrenal hormones all the time. And it's kind of a funny thing when you're not eating carbohydrates, when you're avoiding them, you crave them more, and you creates more stress, and so you want more. So that's not an easy thing. And so the only thing that I've found over time is a replacement. And cravings in any sense. When I used to go to AA meetings, when I was in medical school, they asked us to go to AA meetings and get to know that program. I noticed that there were 4 cups of coffee in the back, and people are smoking a lot. They replace their alcohol with something else like nicotine and caffeine and stuff like that. So there's when people quit smoking and they start eating a bunch of sugar because they're not getting any nicotine, they get fat, and then they get diabetes. So what was worse? Actually, statistically speaking, you're better off smoking than stopping smoking and gaining 30 pounds. That's just the statistics of it, right? So what you do for cravings is to replace it. And what I've found for sugar is I've used various things over time. I started with raisins, where I would just eat raisins, and then I went to carrots. Carrots actually work really well, and I'm a sensitive taster, so I could taste the difference between each one of the carrots. So those baby carrots, every one of them has a different flavor. And so I would notice that, and I don't know, it just took a while for me to get off the sugar, because man, I was one of those too, craving. In my car, I had a bag of Skittles all the time, and I was popping them, and so then I switched to raisins, and then I got nuts too, almonds. I found raw almonds I prefer because they're a little sweeter than the roasted almonds. Anyway, so replacing it with something that's good and good for you and is going to nourish your body without giving you extra things. So today I have broccoli, and that's what I'm doing.
So Leslie, I think a good segue here would be to Douglas's question about. So he said, I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks, but I'm having anger issues, not good sleep, and is this from a drop in glucose levels? And I was going to say too, sometimes like other things can cause us anger. And Leslie, if you're willing to be vulnerable, like you suffered an injury on the ski slopes last week, and like you had this, this vision or expectation of like continuing in your health routine and all that. And then all of a sudden your knee, dislocated kneecap and whatever else you did that messed up. It's like, Oh man, and so you had a lot of reason to be angry as well. So different things cause that as well. But like, how much does glucose and food and things like that play a part in that, and why does that happen?
Oh, that can be a big thing, because one of the things people do, one of the reasons people eat, and one of the reasons that we see diabetes type 2 is because people eat for comfort. We don't often think of this, but life is hard. Just living is hard. Being alone is hard. And being with other people is hard. You can't live with them. You can't live without them. Having technology is hard. Having money is hard. Having no money is hard. There's just like no way around the way life is, and that difficulty of what life is. And so we need something we call comfort. And comfort comes in a lot of different ways. We get comfort from eating, from food. We get comfort from a hug from somebody else, or sex. Some people seek comfort in drugs, alcohol, various things, smoking. I've had people say, well, that's how I relax. You know, it's the only way I get comfort is if I can go out all by myself and have a smoke. People seek comfort in God. And there's a reason why Jesus called the Holy Ghost the Comforter. And it's like, oh, yeah, you know, because that could replace the other comforts that we have in life, because he asked us to give up those comforts. So when you use food for comfort, then you're more likely to get something like type 2 diabetes, because you're more likely to get an oversupply of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, because those are the comfort foods, right? If you have French fries, you know, it's perfect. It's like a lot of fat and a lot of carbs at the same time, or ice cream, a lot of fat and a lot of carbs, or chocolate, a lot of fat and a lot of carbs. So you put that stuff together, and what does that add up to? Diabetes. That's the type 2 diabetes. So now here you are going, okay, I got to reverse this. You know, I don't want to have diabetes. I don't want to lose my kidneys. I don't want to lose my brain. I don't want to get a heart attack. So I'm going to reverse this, and I'm going to cut out all my comfort foods. Well, what's going to happen? If you have no comforts, you're going to get angry. Just, you know, maybe your blood sugar drops low, but it doesn't even need to be that. It's not having any comfort, not having anything to support you. So exactly the same thing Leslie was talking about a minute ago of eating, what was it? In order to replace something that you're used to. So replacing the sweet taste with something else, or replacing your comfort. Where do you get your comfort? So finding something that is a good way of comforting, like getting a hug, instead of eating something. If you say, gosh, I'm really hungry, I need something to eat. And instead, if you could go to your spouse or whatever and ask, or friend or whatever, and say, I need a hug. And you get a hug and you go, oh, okay, good. I'm happy.
Unless that is not your love language, then you won't be asking for a hug, but you got
right.
something else.
But if you have another one, then it's going to be something else.
Tyler, go get
My husband's like, she's not going to ask me for a hug. But I mean, if he were to vacuum for me, then, you know.
Then what? You wouldn't be angry anymore?
You know, at this point, I'm not sure, but it'd be worth a try.
Well, that's good. That's good stuff, Dr. Saunders. Like talking about comfort, like there are healthy ways and unhealthy ways to find comfort. And so, like, yeah, let's find the healthy ways to do it. That's good. I like hugs. I miss hugs. My kids get older, like they don't like hugging as much. I'm like, So
or sometimes sometimes getting a pet, taking care of a pet, having a cat in your lap or a dog in your lap, or or something, then, you know, you wouldn't need to go up and eat all the time for that comfort, because you'd be able to pet your dog or cat or
And I think
parrot.
for me too, a big thing is I was having problems, just background 2 seconds. I had been working out consistently, which we had mentioned, I think, on one of the last webinars. And the reason that I wasn't working out consistently is because I was having kind of some gut issues that I was working with Dr. Saunders on. And I had been feeling really good. And then all of a sudden, knee injury. And so the past like 3 or 4 days, I didn't realize how much I do rely on my working out to just kind of feel good. And so I've had to deal with myself a little bit, and it has not been pretty, let me tell you. As my poor husband was with Joe yesterday, he was like, a break, finally.
That's really important, Leslie, because that was the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Is not just like hugs or whatever.
Yeah.
My son says he can go out for a jog, and that completely relaxes him, and it comforts him. It releases endorphins, and that's a comforting thing too. So exercise is a great way to do it.
You just got to find exercises you can do without one of your legs working real well.
I've been able to get pretty creative. It just took me a couple days to figure out what to do. So I'm still able to move. I can still do ab stuff. I can still lift. So
and you can do the one-legged rowing machine.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm getting creative. It's good. We'll be all right.
Well, this has been really good. Let's maybe pick 2 more questions before we wrap up for the day here.
Okay, and someone just said breathing. Yeah,
yes.
You know, doing a breathing technique, like a yoga breathing or something. That's a great way to comfort yourself too.
I will also mention that because I'm not able to get around very well, it's harder for me to cook. And so we're eating some things that aren't as great for us. And so when you're not eating well and you're not moving, it's just a perfect storm for me to not feel great. I'll just say that. So, okay. Well, there's so many questions, guys. I'm sorry we can't get to all of these. Let's see here. This is from Meg. Before I begin my CinnaChroma, what lab tests for diabetes, kidney, liver, and thyroid should I try to get done in order to have baseline values?
Well, diabetes, liver, kidney, and thyroid. Yeah, those are great. Those are great. So specifically the test, make sure you do an insulin, a fasting insulin test, and a C-peptide. And then a metabolic panel should have a glucose. The thyroid should be both hormones, do free T3 and free T4 along with the TSH. A lot of doctors will just screen quickly using the TSH, but that's not always, that's a screening test. It's not really the complete test. You need both hormones, T3, T4, and the free levels. And then a lipid panel is really important too, because you need to know what your triglycerides are. So that's basic testing.
Okay, final question. We talked about fiber. We have a question, someone who is constipated and only going maybe every 5 days for the last 3 weeks. Normally they go twice a day. They're taking Restoralax. Been taking that for 2 days and it's not effective. So what are your suggestions?
Okay. So the key to constipation, this is important. Don't let this go. It's actually really important. And one of the most important things is to add fiber to your diet, but you need to know why you're constipated. Sometimes people are having reactions to things. Certain proteins especially can cause constipation. And some of the ones that are more common are things like gluten and gliadin are proteins, and that's found in wheat, like pasta and breads and cereals. So sometimes those will increase constipation, especially if the fiber is taken out. So if you have any white flour, white processed kinds of foods, Some people react to other things like cheese. I've had a lot of people, I get them off cheese especially, but milk products generally. And all of a sudden they start, their bowels start working again. So it's not just one thing, not just like, what kind of laxative can I take, but find out why you have constipation and what changed. Sometimes it's just as simple as drinking enough water. So if you're dehydrated, your colon sucks more water out of the stool, and then you end up with hard stool and it gets constipated. So drinking more water can be helpful for some people. Find out why you're constipated, and then fix the problem. And for anybody who has chronic problems with constipation, just make sure you get a lot of fiber. Take out everything that doesn't have fiber. Things like milk products and meats and stuff like that, and just eat everything with fiber: beans, peas, lentils, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and that's the best way to get rid of constipation.
Today's Fixed Blood Sugar webinar is sponsored by CinnaChroma, our best-selling advanced blood sugar support formula. Now, thousands of people around the world are taking CinnaChroma every day as part of their program to fix their blood sugar using natural ingredients that simply work. Now, Dr. Saunders formulated CinnaChroma to meet key nutritional deficiencies that most people have unknowingly suffered from for far too long. With CinnaChroma, you get a blend of 6 key ingredients: the perfect combination of chromium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2, which it's important to take those two together, selenium, vanadium, and our 10-to-1 cinnamon bark extract. Now, if you're not already using CinnaChroma, I highly recommend that you give it a try and see how it helps your energy, your weight, and your blood sugar numbers. You can get CinnaChroma at bartonnutrition.com or on Amazon. If you get it at bartonnutrition.com, you can enter the coupon code webinar25 and you'll save 25% off at bartonnutrition.com. But I realize some people like to go to Amazon as well. So anyways, CinnaChroma, highly recommend. Now let's get you back to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar.
All right.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you, Dr. Saunders. And
You're welcome.
We'll let you go. And he's gone. Okay. He had to go.
Yes.
see patients. Yeah. So I just wanted to share a testimonial that James shared with us, which was amazing. So James said, just wanted to let you know, by using the Diabetes Solution Kit last October 27th, my A1C was 9.3. And in 3 months, on January 27th, I brought my A1C to 5.7 and lost 25 pounds. So that is awesome. That is amazing. So James, I chatted with you, wondering if you could give us your email address and wondering if you'd hop on a Zoom call with us. We'd love to hear your story and maybe record that and be able to share that with other people. So thanks for sharing your story. And we're going to be signing off here. Otherwise, I'd ask others to share as well, but let's maybe do that next time. But also, just wanted to remind you that if you go to bartonwebinar.com, you can join our, the webinar. If you're watching the recording, you can register. But also, we have a Facebook page called the 610 Reset, and that is a community of people on Facebook that are kind of following this program and also following the 610 Reset, which means stop eating at 6 o'clock at night and go to bed on an empty stomach at 10 o'clock and watch what happens. Like, it's pretty amazing. It's not necessarily easy to do, but the results speak for themselves. And so if you go to our bartonwebinar.com, you can find the link to our Facebook page. And also you can find the link to our YouTube page, which has all 84 soon to be all 84 episodes will be up there, so you can watch them. We didn't get a chance to answer everybody's questions today, but if you watch more of our webinars, we've covered a lot of questions in the past, and we also have, I think, 8 of our most frequently asked questions that are on bartonwebinar.com, so you can watch those as well. And some of those are we didn't get to that people asked today. And so let's see, what else was I going to say? I think that was about it. Did I miss anything, Leslie? Or
No, we're actually about to chat with Luann, who is one of our viewers. So we're going to do that right after this webinar.
okay,
Just
Very
a
good.
reminder.
yeah,
And yeah, if any of you guys want to share your story with us, let us know. You can message me or yeah. That'd be great.
And Leslie, did you copy James' testimonial?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So just as we part here, I kind of talked earlier about faith and hope and healing. And the Bible talks about how faith without works is dead. And Dr. Saunders mentioned about information. Like, we can have all this information, but if you don't actually take the steps and move forward with that, then what good is that information? So our encouragement to you is to walk in faith, but also walk in action and works, I guess you call it. So it takes some work on your part to do it, but we hopefully have helped make that journey and that work easier for you as you understand what to do better. And so, yeah, that's my encouragement to you guys. Leslie, thanks again as always. I just got to say, you look great. And so,
They're choosing their words very careful around me lately. I don't know why. No, I just had to have a couple days of feeling sorry for myself. And then I was reminded of all your guys' stories. And I was like, get over yourself. Like, you're hurt. You're alive. It's fine. You're going to get better.
Well, and just think of all the good things that are happening in your family right now as they're realizing how much they need mom. So, yeah. So you're awesome. And we'll get through this. This too shall pass.
Yep.
And so God bless you guys. We'll see you next Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.